Hi, morning.
Oh yeah, this afternoon.
A better bottom line each year of the forwards, less debt every year of the forwards, and net policy decisions that improve the bottom line. On this combination of measures, this is the most responsible mid-year update on record.
The Treasurer putting his take on the government's finances.
This year's deficit is now $5.4 billion smaller. The budget is $8.4 billion better than it was at the election. It's better every year of the forward estimates.
There's extra money for the CSIRO and $104 million to boost security for the Jewish community. The Treasurer and Finance Minister have found $20 billion in savings since the pre-election budget update in April. And there's more money pouring in from taxes, an additional $41 billion over 4 years.
What we've been able to do for the first time, I think, in more than 15 years is bank all the upward revisions to revenue.
Today's update was never going to be about big economic reform. The Treasurer says the May budget will be the main game. This was about accounting for promises made at the election and finding extra money for natural disasters and veterans. What hasn't changed? Ongoing deficits and debt, despite windfall taxes and savings.
The MYEFO is largely driven by the parameter changes, which are the things outside the government's control. That is, better commodity prices, increased tax take.
Stephen Bartos is a professor of economics and former New South Wales Parliamentary Budget Officer.
To his credit, Jim Chalmers has avoided the temptation to spend that. It's been put towards improving the budget bottom line.
The government's medium-term outlook indicates that total spending as a proportion of the economy will stay above what it's been for much of the past 40 years, with the exception of the pandemic. Longer-term revenue is forecast to rise after temporarily declining over the next 3 years because of the reworked Stage 3 tax cuts.
Do you think you have a mandate for government to be bigger? Is that a calculation you've made? You've won 2 elections now. Is that the lesson you've taken, that that's what Australians want, and you're prepared to stare down your political opponents on that issue?
We don't describe the challenge of finding room for our priorities in the way that you've described it. It's important to remember that payments as a share of the economy go down over the forward estimates. The additional pressure on the medium term in this budget update, a key reason for that is actually the sensible provision we've made for the hospitals deal that we hope to strike with the states and territories. When it comes to tax revenue, again, the tax to GDP is lower than what we saw under the Howard government.
The May budget will need to make more room for increases in defence spending and the care economy, including the Prime Minister's priority for universal childcare.
We see it not as a social security measure. We actually see it as part of our economic plan around ensuring that families are able to make choices.
Despite the Treasurer's overall optimism, it's hard to ignore the underlying structural problems, with deficits forecast for a decade. And while the budget has improved, more spending has gone beneath the radar into so-called off-budget measures, such as loans for housing.
They've baked in spending at the highest level we've seen in almost 40 years outside the pandemic. The MYEFO also confirms that the Treasurer has given up all hope of ever balancing the budget.
While the MYEFO didn't do very much harm, it also didn't take the opportunity to do significant good.
The Treasurer was again asked about the government's impact on inflation, which has rebounded in recent months, prompting predictions from some bank economists of Reserve Bank interest rate increases in the new year.
What we know from the Reserve Bank statements throughout the year is that they don't consider public spending to be a factor in the decisions that they've been taking.
He's right that the budget settings aren't making inflation worse, but they're also not making inflation better.
Today's update is likely to have a short shelf life, given the national focus on Bondi, but it sets the scene for a big debate in the lead up to the May budget.
If Jim Chalmers is being strategic in his budget thinking, this coming budget will be quite tough, very tight.
We've made good progress, but we know, as always, that there is more work to do. Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you.